Hi, my name is Kat. I work at the outdoor program as a trip leader, and today I'm going to be talking about skate skiing, the intermediate level, a little bit further up from the basics, and specifically I will be talking about the different techniques for the different terrain. I'd also like to note that I am recreating at Happy Jack right now, which is ancestral home to the Arapaho, the Sioux, and the Cheyenne. So with these three different techniques, the legs stay the same. The legs are going to do the same thing the entire time. The only thing that changes is how you're pulling and the timing of the pulls and the number per stroke. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is V1, and it is by far the hardest. This is the one that we used for going up hills. So your legs are going to be doing what they're always doing, but the pulls, you are going to have one lead pull and one hang pull. The lead pull will be higher and the hang pull will be kind of angled in towards the lead pull. And so this is really so you can get all of your weight and your force onto this lead pull, because when you're going uphill, you're going to be taking shorter strokes, which means you have less time to pull. And so we really want to get as much power as we can into that one stroke. So when you do this, you are going to pull with one foot. So when one foot steps down, you will be pushing with your pulls at the same time. You got your hang pull, and the lead pull aligns with the foot that you are stepping with. So if I am stepping onto my right foot, my lead pull will be my right hand. And then I will go onto the other side, and I will push with my legs and my arms at the same time onto my other ski. And so then I'll be on this ski, and then I will, when I get onto this ski, I will be bringing my hands up so that when I step again, I can pull again with that same lead hand and lead foot. Here's a little example for you guys. I'm doing these on the flats just for example purposes, but remember this technique is supposed to be done for uphills. And what I want you to look at is the placement of my poles. How I have one pole that's a little bit higher than the other and one is a little angled in, and I am placing them at the same time that one of my feet step down. So here I am going up the hill, and I'm going to pause it for you when you get to a good spot and you can see that angle. So right here is where I am placing my poles and my feet, and you'll notice that from this angle, the right hand is higher than the left hand, and the left hand is angled in. And I'm really pushing all of my weight onto that right hand. And then I'm going to pause it again when we go into the next form here, and you'll see that I have transferred my weight onto the other foot, and my poles are down, and I have finished my stroke with that pull. One more thing I'd like to add with V1, you'll notice that my upper body is actually moving a little bit, and that's totally fine. You want, what I call it, is smelling the cookies. So you'll lead a little bit like this, and then a little bit like this. And that's because you want your shoulders squared over the ski that you are on. You want your shoulders pointing in the direction that your ski that you are currently standing on is in. So this next technique that I'm going to talk about is V2. And V2 is used for flats and gradual uphills. And what you do in V2 is that you pull just milliseconds before you put your feet down. So you'll notice that I'm pulling with every single stride that I have, and my pulls are level, and I'm trying to get in a good crunch with every single pull, and then I step. So the timing kind of looks like pull, step, pull, step, pull, step, pull, step. It's pretty tricky to get down at first because it does require a lot of balance, and the further along you get with skiing, the easier this is going to be and the more comfortable you feel on your skis, and the more you can really use that upper body because you'll be able to stand on one leg for longer and you'll be able to really get that crunch in. The next technique is V2 alternate, and this one can get really confusing with V1 and V2 alternate. So V2 alternate is just like V2, except you only pull on one side like V1. Except for in V1, you have your lead pull and your hang pull, but in V2 alternate, you have the same pulls like this. One of my coaches like to call it the dancing bear because usually you're using this for the downhills or really something where you're going pretty fast. This is also what most people tend to lean towards when they're learning, because it is the easiest in terms of balance. I'll show you what that looks like. So in V2 alternate, what you should really be focusing on is throwing that coffee. When you are doing V2 alternate, you want to have a really big, powerful stroke. This is for when you're going like super fast and you're flying along the flats and maybe some gradual downhill. And when you get to the top of your stroke, your hands should be all the way up. And then when you get to the bottom of your stroke, they should be all the way down. This is a big, powerful, fluid movement. Remember in the last video I talked about that string that's attached to your belly button? V2 alternate is a great opportunity to practice that, because when you're at the very top of your stride, your string attached to your belly button should be all the way out. You should be standing as far up on your ski as you can, so you can get a very big, powerful push onto the other foot. So a little recap of what we've learned today. V1, used for going up hills. You have your lead pole and your hang pole, and you are pulling with one foot when you step, at the same time you step. V2, used for flats and gradual uphills, and that's when you pull every stroke and you pull just before you step. V2 alternate, used for going gradual downhills or when you're getting up pretty fast, and that's every other pull stroke, and you're going to be pulling right before you step again. Thanks so much for watching. Happy skiing.